German Fest in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The battle to find America's top lumberjack continues. 8 athletes have punched their ticket to the championship. Now 8 more athletes in Pool C will battle it out for the remaining 4 spots. As for the ones to watch,
and our local boy coming to us from the North Woods of Wisconsin, Hayward, Wisconsin, Cassidy Scheer.
Scheer, the 2019 champion, looks to repeat that success and claim his 2nd title.
Coming all the way from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, give it up for Matt Slingerland.
6-time bronze medalist Matt Slingerland sets his sights on winning gold in 2023.
And from Charleston, West Virginia, big round of applause, Arden Cogar Jr.
35-year veteran Arden Cogar Jr. is looking for his 28th consecutive championship appearance.
And from Marysville, Ohio, Grant Foreman.
As for Grant Foreman, he's looking for his first podium finish. Pool C begins now with the Springboard. For more on the Springboard, here's the Duluth Trading Discipline Review.
Springboard. Springboard simulates the traditional way of felling trees, climbing up over thick roots. First, notches known as pockets are chopped into the log. 2 springboards are then anchored into these pockets. The athlete then climbs up to chop through a 27-centimeter thick block of wood in the fastest time possible.
Pool C springboard action would begin with Tyler White and Mike Eash.
Whoa, here comes Mike Eash though. Mike's moving. Mike's gonna get, no!
Tyler White would edge out Mike Eash with a time of 1 minute, 49.67 seconds. In Heat 2 of the Springboard, Ben Whelan, in his first appearance in a steel championship, goes up against 35-year veteran Arden Cogar Jr.
My outlook going into the championship is one of, let's see if I can be a thorn in the side of the young boys. That's all I want to do. I know that my best days are behind me, but I still have a skill set that makes me relevant. And it's that skill set that will take some points away for some young guys. And hopefully that'll be good enough to get me into the finals and maybe even the top 6. Who knows? I don't know. No one knows. This is sport. Anything can happen.
About 1 minute, 49 seconds, the time to beat.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Ben Whelan on stand number 3 is a really solid springboard cutter, but he hasn't been in this environment before. And I know that might sound kind of silly to some folks, but the music, the noise, the lights, the crowd, the pressure, the prizes, all that kind of stuff. You know, who has been here a lot is the man on number 4, Arden Cogar Jr. He's lived in this environment for decades now. This is not his discipline. This is not an Arden Cogar Jr. event, but he does know this environment. And right now, Ben is really struggling, and I think it's going to be really largely between his ears. He's got to get this past him, get used to this environment, get used to this climate, and we'll see him settle into the rest of the day. There it is, Arden Cogar Jr. 2 really nice, clean board sets. Very nice climb for Arden Cogar Jr. Here he is up in the block at the top. Very clean, consistent board sets. And again, look at here, switch-handed cutter, upward blows, downward blows, staying above that V in the front side. So when he does drive through this, he's coming into the fresh air on the front side of that log. 1 or 2 more on the back edge of that block will take it off.
Great cut. You needed that. You knew you were going up against Ben Whelan. I don't know the amount of years difference between you two, but you really stuck to your game plan. You didn't seem rattled. Great pockets, great power, great cut in the backside.
You know, here's the thing. Ben Whelan's 27 years old. I've been doing this series for 35 years. And so, if anybody out there lacks hair, has some gray hair, that one was for you all. How about that? All right.
Cogar would set a time of 1 minute, 9.23 seconds with 2 heats remaining. In Heat 3 of the Springboard, it would be Grant Foreman and Zach Brouse.
He's got to get that far fiber, there it is.
Grant Foreman would take the heat, but would not best the time of Arden Cogar.
Final heat of the Springboard, Matt Slingerland and Cassidy Scheer.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
It's 2019 U.S. champion Cassidy Scheer on stand number 4 going up against Matt Slingerland. 2 times a silver medalist here.
And Matt Slingerland, a little bit of a double clutch there on that first pocket. He got the axe all the way up to set it into the pole and then decided, nope, that first pocket's not as good as I thought. He went back to clean it up again. Cassidy Scheer, no grass growing under his feet. He is already on that second board. Blistering time underway for Cassidy Scheer. That axe is liking the white pine. I was about to say he's got to get around to the far a little bit. He did on that last hit. Still wood to clear there. There it goes. Cassidy Scheer just watching that time. Beautiful looking cut from Cassidy Scheer. Runs it all the way out as much as he can. Then goes into this patent pending roundhouse swing. Cassidy Scheer, a little breath hold moment there, as he also got pinwheeled around.
Cassidy Scheer with one of the fastest times of our weekend, around 50 seconds.
The Wisconsin crowd loving one of their own, Cassidy Scheer.
Cassidy, great cut. We know you climb well. We know you cut the front so well. You have a mountainous slope. All the other athletes, though, cringe when you go to that backside, that crazy windmill downward motion. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like springboard choppers. Don't try this at home. Cassidy's mastered it. Talk about the confidence to handle that axe in the backside.
I mean, that was just, no one really taught me how to properly switch it. I developed that. It works for me. Is it the most effective way to cut the backside? I don't know. I'm 42. I'm sticking with it. I know it works.
Cassidy Scheer would win the springboard and take top points headed into our next discipline, the stock saw. For more on the stock saw, here's the Ace Hardware Tools of the Trade.
The STIHL MS661CM stock saw is used in STIHL Timbersports as the ultimate test of operator skill. Designed for the toughest jobs in forestry, it produces approximately 7.3 horsepower, has a displacement of 91.1 cc, and weighs 7.4 kilograms. To ensure evenly and fairly matched saws, professional STIHL technicians prepare and test the saws before each competition.
In Heat 1 of the stock saw, Ben Whelan, who sits in 5th in overall points, and Zach Brouse, who sits in 8th, need to lay down fast times if they want to make a move up the leaderboard.
Zach Brouse, though, making a beautiful cut.
Both Whelan and Brouse would have personal best times, with Brouse setting the time to beat at 11.15.
Second heat of the stock saw, Tyler White and Arden Cogar Jr.
Arden Cogar Jr. currently sits in 3rd in overall points, and Tyler White sits in 6th.
Now, Arden Cogar Jr.'s got to love where he's sitting in terms of STIHL overall points. Slams that transition of the saw from cut 1 to cut 2 and rips through the top.
Arden would lay down a fast time of 11:11 with 2 heats in the stock saw remaining.
Third heat of the stock saw. Let's bring him out from Hayward, Wisconsin. Cassidy Scheer versus Mike Eash.
I love it that we're here in Wisconsin. I hear the crowd cheering for me when Dave introduces me from Hayward, Wisconsin. Us Scotties, we stick together and support each other.
Former U.S. champ Cassidy Scheer ready to take his turn at the stock saw. Of course, he's got tremendous skill set. Mike Eash, his opponent here, a real artist at this one, the stock saw himself.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a barn burner of a race here. We haven't seen any times all day, any pool. Look at how efficient Cassidy Scheer was to the wood. Very clean cutting from both these guys. I think Eash might just have him.
Oh my
wow,
gosh.
what a finish.
Look at those times, 11:11 again. I'm calling it Mike Eash.
Very clean, consistent discs from these guys, both very smooth operators.
They are discussing this. Okay, there's a discussion on Cassidy Scheer. Here's the call.
Uh-oh.
And I'm not sure what. Possibly the go. They're gonna go to the camera. They're looking at 120 frames per second.
Cassidy Scheer in the hot seat right now. I think they are looking at the go signal to see if it was a jumped gun. These guys are pushing for every 10th, every 100th they can get. Once again, our judge is going down into the pit to look at a video review at 120 frames per second.
His cut unofficially was 11.14, which would have been 3/100ths of a second slower than the unofficial time for Mike Eash.
Here's the call.
Stand 1, your cut was good. Stand 2, DQ, drop start the saw on the warm-up.
I didn't see that coming. We'll have to go back and watch it.
Here's what we're talking about, a drop start. When you start these stock saws, you have to have 3 points of contact. If it's between your legs, you gotta have your hand and 2 legs holding the saw. That's 3 points of contact. If that saw drops, it's an unsafe start. That is a drop start. That's illegal, but Cassidy is gonna be upset with that, considering that's one of his best events.
Cassidy Scheer is not happy about that call and is still pleading his case to the judges. But now he'll have to settle for the DQ as we move into the final heat of the stock saw. Mike Eash's time of 10.92 is the time to beat.
4th heat of stock saw mayhem. Let's bring them out, Grant Foreman and Matt Slingerland.
Final heat of the stock saw. In the foreground, Grant Foreman, Marysville, Ohio. Behind him, the 2-time silver medalist here. These U.S. championships, Matt Slingerland.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Both of these guys, excellent students of the sport, but a little bobble there from Grant Foreman. I think he just grabbed a finger on that chain break. Matty Slingerland so fast on the transition. Grant Foreman looking dangerously close to the line, though. I think he's going to be all right. Very close on stand number 1, looking at those cuts. Matty Slingerland, stand number 2, though. You see a smile. He knows he's good. Very fast time. Oh, here goes the flag flying again on stand number 1 this time for Grant Foreman. So now what's going to happen is they're going to go to video review. They'll watch the chain and bar passing through that saw to determine if he did cut all the wood. Here you can see this first cut looks great going down. Oh, and there it is on the bottom of that upcut. You can see the pieces breaking away as he's cutting. It's almost hard to spot at first because the first disc is bouncing around. Again, this is why I do TV. They do the judging. I'm not going to step on that one.
Okay, after review, stand 1, disqualification, incomplete disc. Stand 2, your cut was good.
Matt Slingerland will take the stock saw with a time of 10.69. On the other hand, Cassidy Scheer still requesting another review of his DQ.
So we're gonna get a final call here again. I know Cassidy Scheer was having a chat back off the stage. He was saying, hey, look, it's a drop start, but they got to define the rules a little better. I think he's got a point. It's like, how far does the saw have to move before it's a drop start? So Cassidy's got a valid complaint. I don't think they're going to overturn it, but Cassidy not happy. Buckle up and hold on to your beer steins. Cassidy Scheer has a legal cut. The call has been reversed.
What a turn of events for Cassidy Scheer. He will now finish 3rd in the stock saw and pick up those much-needed points moving into the standing block.
I understand why you did it. I have no issue with that. Yeah. Just like, I mean, protests are there for a reason. They're not bullshit. Okay. Calm down.
Standing block chop. At the standing block chop, the felling of a tree with an axe is simulated. A vertically positioned wooden block with a diameter of 30 centimeters has to be cut through both sides. A powerful and precise swing with the axe is the premise of a good result.
First heat of the standing block, 31-year-old Ben Whelan takes on 52-year-old Mike Eash.
Ben Whelan, his front foot just coming off the ground, laying those down. It's in. Mike Eash may catch him. Very, very close. It's Ben Whelan.
Whelan takes the victory and sets the time to beat at just over 27 seconds. Next up, Tyler White taking on Matt Slingerland.
Well, Matt Slingerland, so many years, has been right there in terms of STIHL Timbersports at finals time. I've got a feeling he's going to be even closer, if not our new champion this year. I really like what I'm seeing out of him. He's got a lot of competition to get through, the likes of Jason Lentz, Matt Cogar, and others. But look at this as he goes to drive off the back of this block. 19-second cut for Matt Slingerland.
Next up, 53-year-old Arden Cogar Jr. faces his protege, Zach Brouse.
3, 2, 1, go!
Arden Cogar Jr. did himself a whole lot of good in that springboard. Again, it's not synonymous with success for him. And then that set him up for a great run in the stock saw, and he's carrying that momentum here into the standing block. Big wide open face, but big Zach Brouse is putting some serious horsepower in. 2 heavy hitters in the sport. Jr. can't find the last fiber. There it is. Arden Cogar Jr. does find that last fiber. He was hunting for a bit. It was somewhere in the guts of that block, just did not want to let go. There you go, teacher and student on stage at the same time, going head to head. A very clean front face for Arden Cogar Jr. Got down a little bit into the small wood there. You can see where his lines were and where he wound up. I think that may have been what bit him a little bit in the back when it just didn't want to release. He didn't quite have it opened up as big of a face in the front as maybe he wanted originally.
Arden, I don't think I've ever seen you glare down a log like you did on that countdown. You were just hyper-focused today.
You know, here's the thing. I've got 3 lumberjack sons competing this weekend. That was one of them, Zach Brouse. That boy means the world to me, as does Josh Wilson and Alex Storm. Those 3, I'm very proud. They're half my age, and I put a lot of effort into getting them on this stage, and it's an honor for me to compete with him, against him, but to actually beat him, oh my Lord, I didn't see that one coming.
Great job. A big round of applause for Arden Cogar Jr., one of the best ambassadors of the sport.
Cogar takes the win in the heat, but falls short of Matt Slingerland's top time. Taking a look at our Duluth Durability Rewind, we take you back to 1996 from Memphis, Tennessee. Arden Cogar, also known as Jamie, has a professional lumberjack career spanning over 3 decades. He's known as an ambassador for the sport and has always been willing to share his knowledge with younger competitors.
When I teach people to chop, I teach them perfect practice makes perfect. It's not practice, it's perfect practice. Every hit has to be where it's supposed to be. Your feet have to be in their proper places. Just like going to school. You go there to try to get 100%.
4th heat of the standing block chop. Everybody contain yourselves. It's Grant Foreman and Cassidy Scheer.
Final heat, and a couple of guys who had a rather strange trip through the stock saw our previous discipline here. Grant Foreman actually did get DQ'd, as did Cassidy Scheer, but Cassidy Scheer's call rescinded.
Stand to
His
your
points
timber.
reinstated.
3, 2, 1, go!
Well, and all that is backstory at this point. Cassidy Scheer can easily beat that time to beat, but I don't like how this opening face is gone. He ends up working the middle of this block, kind of left the far wood unattended. He's got to go back and pick that up. Grant Foreman, a great cut going on here. There it is, Grant Foreman ripping off. That is probably going to be a new personal best for Grant Foreman. I mentioned earlier, Grant Foreman is one of the most cerebral cutters out there, a very smart man in many ways, but he sees how to take these blocks apart. Here's another look as Grant Foreman comes around the backside of this block. It's always a tough moment in time. The front side, you get settled, you get your feet in place, you know where you're gonna hit. The backside, you gotta do a little mini sprint around the block, get settled quickly, and get in position. Grant Foreman did a pretty solid job of that. Fist pump from Grant Foreman. I believe that is a new personal best for him here in the STIHL Timbersports series.
I love the fist pump, buddy. Come on over here. The adrenaline, the fist pump, the emotion. Everybody likes you. Talk about that cut.
Yeah, I'm a pretty nice guy till I DQ and get pissed off. So I took a little bit out on the standing block there, but I'm better now, so that hopefully gets me back on track and I can focus on the single buck next.
All right, good luck in the single buck.
Taking a look at who will make a move in our John Deere driver's seat leaderboard. After DQing in the stock saw, Grant Foreman takes the win in the standing block for his first overall win of the day and moves from last place to 4th in overall points. Only the top 4 will move on after today's competition. Halfway through our competition, and we're ready for our next discipline, the single buck.
Single buck. The single buck is a one-man saw about 2 meters long. With this, the athletes have to cut off a complete disc of a 46-centimeter thick wooden block. The perfect interplay between rhythm and strength is the key to success.
We are halfway through our competition, and with only 3 events remaining, here's how we got our time to beat.
3, 2, 1,
In the first heat of single buck, Ben Whelan takes on Mike Eash. Whelan sits in 6th in overall points and Eash in 5th.
Mike Eash, such a clean, clinical cutter. Ben Whelan, I think he finally got the nerves out in those first few disciplines, came alive in the standing block, and is giving Mike Eash a run for his money. Oh, there it is. Trouble at the bottom for Ben Whelan, a hang-up.
The veteran Mike Eash takes the win in the heat and sets the time to beat at just over 21 seconds. Next up, Brouse squares off against Tyler White.
Tyler White driving off very cleanly at the bottom of that log.
And it would be White taking the heat and setting the new time to beat at just under 18 seconds.
Third heat of the single buck, Arden Cogar Jr. and Grant Foreman.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Grant Foreman on the right, Arden Cogar trying to keep the momentum going on stand number 1.
And very different styles. Arden Cogar Jr., one of the few in the field or few in the sport that starts with a bit of a push stroke. Grant Foreman starts with about that half of a pull stroke. Lots of angle changes for Grant Foreman, but he's making it work as he throttles down through the bottom of that block. Big fist pump for Grant Foreman, looking like he may have broke that 16-second barrier. We'll wait for the official time. That should put him in the lead over Tyler White.
Grant Foreman charged up about that cut, and why not? A 15.84 to take the top spot. Arden Cogar Jr. hanging in there behind him at 17.62.
How difficult is it to maintain that technique? When you make a cut, it works. You want to repeat that cut. How difficult is that to keep that in your mind?
It's a challenge. You know, the single buck requires a lot of details, and earlier in the year I wasn't paying attention to that. I was a little sloppy with the cut. The times were okay, but definitely not my best. I've worked on that hard. I've been cutting cottonwood last few weeks before the show, so that harder wood really set me up good for this block.
Final heat, and it is a single buck grudge match. Cassidy Scheer and Matthew Slingerland.
Well, a little bit of a construction project going on stand number 1. Cassidy Scheer, all these guys, I should say, recognize how important footing is and foot placement is. Cassidy Scheer is taking it to the next level by building this scaffolding system that he comes out and screws to the stage. The downfall, time invested. You only get 1 minute to set your cut. So that means you've got to get out, get your feet set, get your kerf in, all that kind of stuff. And that time expires very quickly when you're taking on a construction project during that 1 minute.
There's Cassidy standing in that template right there, if you will.
The alternative we've seen a lot of guys do is bringing out kind of a story stick. What I don't like is Matty Slingerland. Look at his feet moving around. He is so far from Cassidy Scheer in terms of anchoring. He's losing horsepower, he's losing time. Can he maintain? He does! Matty Slingerland's gonna go back. I mean, granted, fast cut, 15-second run. He's probably gonna win this thing. That should be faster than Grant Foreman. But when Matty Slingerland goes back and watches that video, he's gonna see what I saw, he's gonna see what Dave saw, he's gonna see what all you guys saw, and that's the movement in his feet on that stage. He did not have purchase on that stage. And there's a really great opportunity to pick up lost horsepower. That is essentially wheel slip in this sport.
Slippage or not, Matt Slingerland takes his second discipline win of the day with a time of 15.27 in the single buck. He now has a 5-point lead over Cassidy Scheer in overall points. Cogar and Foreman round out the top 4. Time is running out for Eash, White, Brouse, and Whelan, who sit outside the cut with only 2 disciplines remaining. We're ready for the final chopping event of the day. Here comes the underhand.
Underhand chop. In the past, the underhand chop technique was used to split logs. Standing on a horizontally anchored block, the athletes cut through a 32-centimeter log. The block has to be worked from both sides.
In Heat 1, it would be Mike Eash going up against Ben Whelan.
Eash just getting the big one. He's 1 and 1 at the bottom. He's done the bottom. He's going to drive it off. Eash is driving the top, middle. 1 or 2 more in the bottom. There it is. Great cut by Mike Eash.
It would be Mike Eash taking the heat with a time of 29.09. Heat 2 would be Brouse, who sits in 7th in overall points, and Tyler White, who sits in 8th. They need to lay down fast times if they want to get back into contention.
Tyler White, a tough log. You can hear it. But look at Brouse, bang, taking 5 seconds off the best time.
It would be Brouse taking the heat and setting a time of 24.18 for the remaining 2 heats.
Athletes ready.
In the next heat, Grant Foreman would take on the veteran Arden Cogar Jr.
3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, here we go with Grant Foreman and Arden Cogar Jr. Foreman on the left, Cogar on the right.
Arden Cogar Jr., swing for swing, some of the fastest hit speed out there. Also exceptionally quick in the turn. There you see it, that helicopter turn, and lands the hit pretty accurately. Stepped in a little bit. Grant Foreman's got a nice wide open face. He's got to keep that pace going in this firm wood. No, it's going to be Arden Cogar Jr. My gut says in this wood, you've got to have a wider face, you've got to have more slope on it, but so far, it has been the steeper slopes, the smaller faces just muscling their way through.
So this is making things real interesting going into the hot saw, but look at that time for Arden Cogar Jr., low 22s.
There's a look at Arden Cogar Jr. in the backside of this log, really clean lines. It's amazing to me how he can pull that helicopter move and land that hit with such accuracy.
Great job, great speed, great transition. You knew Grant Foreman was chasing you down, but you stayed in it.
You know, I like to try and go fast, really fast, but sometimes the age catches up with me, and when that happens, I kind of make mistakes, and that cut was good for me. That was a very good cut for me.
Ageless Arden Cogar there, a time of 22.06. Man, he just keeps on plowing through this in his goal to make his 28th championship round qualification here. He's got the lead as it stands right now.
Final heat of the underhand. Pigeon Forge is Tennessee, Matt Slingerland, and Hayward, Wisconsin's own Cassidy Scheer.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Our leader, Matt Slingerland, going up against Cassidy Scheer, the former national champ.
Yeah, and I love what I'm seeing out of Matty Slingerland this year. He's always known what he has to do. Sometimes it's just a matter of execution. Mentally, he seems like he's got it together this year, and we'll see how that carries through. Obviously, well on his way to finals, and it looks like he's got this heat of the underhand. There it is. Wow, Cassidy Scheer, though, right there with him. Cassidy Scheer did an exceptional job reeling in Matty Slingerland there. Here's the backside of that log for Matt Slingerland. Got in there, got a little bit out of hand on that drive side, but once he gets it settled, you can see how those next round of hits get squared up. Chip face looks nice and clean. A lot of wood down there at the bottom to cut. He's gonna drive top, punch it in the guts once, goes to the bottom, but there's that big wing. He's gotta go back a couple more times. That's almost where Cassidy was able to pass him at the end of that log.
22.06, your official time there. It's going to give you the win. Talk about the pressure going up against Cassidy.
Yeah, we've been going against each other the last couple of weeks, and you know, it's been tight racing. I knew I'd have to go. I just wanted to have a clean cut. The drivers were a bit tough for me in the back, but overall it was good.
The top two seeds will finish 1 and 2 in the underhand, which will lock them into the finals along with Arden Cogar Jr. 4th through 7th place will now have to battle it out in our final discipline, the unforgiving hot saw, for that 4th and final spot in the championship. As the deck crew resets the stage for the final event, let's take a look at the Ace Hardware reset. Cassidy Scheer kicked off the day with a win in the Springboard.
The Wisconsin crowd loving one of their own, Cassidy Scheer.
In the second discipline of the day, Matt Slingerland posted the best time and went on to the overall victory in the stock saw. In the standing block, Grant Foreman bounced back from a DQ in the stock saw to take his first overall victory of the day.
Grant Foreman, a great cut going on here. There it is, Grant Foreman ripping off. That is probably going to be a new personal best for Grant Foreman.
In our 4th discipline of the day, the single buck, Matt Slingerland notched his 2nd overall win of the day.
He's losing horsepower, he's losing time. Can he maintain? He does!
Riding the momentum from his win in the single buck, Slingerland would post the top time in the underhand for his 3rd overall victory of the day.
Yeah, and I love what I'm seeing out of Matty Slingerland this year. He's always known what he has to do. Sometimes it's just a matter of execution.
We're ready for our final event of the day, the hot saw.
Hot saw. For the hot saw, power saws are called into action, and the athletes have a space of 15 centimeters to cut 3 complete discs off a 46 centimeter thick wooden block. Jumping the start or cutting over the line will result in a disqualification.
First heat of the hot saw, the final event of the day, Zach Brouse and Tyler White.
Heading to the hot saw, the top three are a lock for the championship. In Heat 1, Zach Brouse and Tyler White need to take top points in the hot saw, and for Grant Foreman to DQ to have a chance to advance to the championship.
3, 2, 1, go!
Zach Brouse just shoving into that pile of cookies underneath there.
Brouse and White would lay down relatively fast times and keep themselves in contention. Heat 2 would be Ben Whelan and Mike Eash. Whelan can only play spoiler at this point, and Eash needs a top time to have a shot at the finals.
3, 2, 1, go!
Ben Whelan, where'd this come from?
2 great times for Eash and Whelan. Eash has put himself in the hot seat with that time, with 2 heats remaining. In Heat 3, it would be Arden Cogar Jr., who's already heading to the finals, and Grant Foreman, who just needs to lay down a cut and he will advance to the finals. But one mistake, and he could leave the door open for Mike Eash.
3, 2, 1, go!
Both these guys up and in, a little bit of a hesitation at the top, and double clutch struggling. Arden Cogar Jr. especially. Oh, the bottom of the log. Arden Cogar Jr. has been so strong all day. Yellow flag already flying on stand number 1. This is not the way Arden Cogar Jr. wanted to end his day.
With that cut, Foreman has done it. He'll take that final spot and move on to the finals.
So much pressure, Grant. You know, you're looking good. We're gonna say you're in, buddy. You're going to the finals. Talk about is it difficult to make a safe cut, or is speed your friend in this event?
Yeah, it's almost harder to make a safe cut. That's not what you train, not what you practice, not what you do. So when you try to slow down, sometimes things get a little wonky. And in the first cut, I was slow to the throttle. It didn't pick up quick. And then, I tried to set up the second one and got it fat, and then I just took off and went from there.
In the final heat of the hot saw, Matt Slingerland and Cassidy Scheer can freewheel it, then set their sights on the championship.
3, 2, 1, go!
Wow, Maddie Slingerland just light years ahead in this particular race. I don't know if that's motor, if that's chain, that's operator, that's all of them. Maddie Slingerland showing a time in the low 5-second range.
What a day for Matt Slingerland. 4 first place and 2 second place finishes in the 6 disciplines. He will beat our John Deere power play. Nothing runs like a deer.
Maddie Slingerland so fast on the transition.
Slingerland just throwing himself in that log.
It looks like he's got this heat of the underhand. There it is. Wow. Maddie Slingerland just light years ahead.
He will advance to the championship along with Cassidy Scheer, Arden Cogar Jr., and Grant Foreman. They will join Mark Beauquin, Nate Hodges, Calvin Willard, Jason Lentz, Ben Nicely, Josh Wilson, Walt Page, and Matt Cogar in the 2023 STIHL Timbersports Men's U.S. Championship.
Matt Cogar is just going to be the man to beat. However, we have, I say, one of the deepest talent pools ever here on final days. Cuts near, far, Walt Page, but we're pushing world record pace. These guys literally grew up, they started in diapers at competitions with each other.
This one of these gentlemen is going to be our new national champion.